everybody, my name is Eric and welcome to Eric Burdon TV, the video series where I talk about wealth, health, love and relationships and self-awareness, and sometimes I interview random people that I've met on Twitter. So I have Tiffany Tee with me today, and I've met her on Facebook, or no, not Facebook. I've met her on Twitter not too long ago, and we have been chatting it up for a little while, and we decided, hey, let's go and do a video together talking about self-awareness. So one thing with self-awareness that I really enjoy is doing tests. So I told that to Tiffany, and she said, yes, let's go and do a test. And we did do a test, and it's down in the description below, so you guys can go and check out that test and do that test. And basically, we just wanted to be sharing our results a little bit, as well as just talking a little bit about self-awareness in general, because I've been doing self-awareness for for a little while now. And Tiffany has been doing it for a lot longer than I have. But yeah, I'm just going to let her introduce herself a little bit more, and we can get going with the questions.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Eric, for having me on. I really appreciate it. I'm really enjoying collaborating with you too. You're awesome.
No problem. Thank you.
And I basically, my purpose in life is to inspire and empower people to live their life on purpose, and basically just wake them up to their human potential and fall in love with themselves and their life. So it's pretty simple, and I love it. So I have tiffanyteeworld.com, which is my passion project that I just started this year. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And here we are.
Yes, here we are. All right, so why don't we start talking a little bit more about self-awareness? And now, as far as the test goes, the test was pretty easy. It's just 14 questions. It doesn't take a whole lot of time. But these questions, I just want to be asking you. So what is your definition of self-awareness?
Thank you, Eric. My definition of self-awareness is just conscious knowledge of who you are, who your character is, what you're made up of, what your personality entails. You know, the good, the ugly, the beautiful, the everything in between. It's knowing your strengths and how to apply those, and knowing your weaknesses and how to work on those. And I mean, it's pretty basic, just intricately knowing yourself. What about you?
One thing that I always say is to first understand people, you must first understand yourself and how you work. So if you understand more about yourself, you're able to connect with more people. You're able to have more conversations, more intellectual conversations with other people, and understand more about other people.
I absolutely agree.
So what are your results from the quiz?
Well, my results say that I'm intuitive, being guided, other consciousness. And what I really related to, it says my life is good, you have a good sense of control, you have some space to think and reflect, you're much more aware and interactive of your surroundings. There's still a stronger urge to do more, you're ready to give back to others, you're aware of your unique skills and your creative place in humanity, and you begin to commit much more to a spiritual path. It also goes along to say a lot of other things, but those, that's so true for me, especially this last year when I figured out what my purpose was and everything. It's kind of hit home, because yes, I've had all these skills and everything, but I haven't really started applying them. I mean, I have throughout all my life, but applying them in a professional way, that's like part of my purpose. So I really related to it. What did yours say?
For mine was pretty much just I have some control in my life, and for the most part, it's a mixture between lots of joy and lots of chaos. It's just a huge kerfuffle of stuff, and there is a strong urge for me to improve my life, or to realize that there is more in life, and I still have a want to learn more about my place in life, or see the bigger picture in life. And so I'm still kind of going through the motions, but through the end of it, through this journey so far, I've had a clearer sense of where I belong, but I'm still looking forward. I still have a bit of an idea, but there's still a lot more to life and figuring out where do I fit in all of this? Where am I supposed to be going next?
Right.
And that sort of thing. So that kind of that feeds a little bit into the next question, which is, what is the biggest realization you had from doing this test?
There were actually a lot, but it was saying that I'm at the shift in my life where I'm going and experiencing a paradigm change and really coming into everything, all my innate gifts, that like I'm really, I have the ability and I have the power to create and help people in a huge way. And that really hit home for me. And it's what I'm striving to do right now, or I have for the last 10 months. Wait, what month is it? November.
November. Yeah.
But and yeah, that was really accurate about me, and I really enjoyed that. And I love what you said about, you know, you're coming into yourself, finding a place in the world, like self knowledge, self-awareness, everything. You're always evolving, so it's like there's never a destination. It's always a journey. So you're going to always constantly learn and grow and maybe change things up, and you're going to become a different person as you go, you know, because you're learning new things and applying new information. So, I mean, you're still at the core always going to be Eric, but along the way, you're gonna change and shift and do what serves you and let go of what doesn't serve you and all that stuff. I mean, if you're on the right path.
Oh yeah, of course. One of the biggest realizations for me personally was the last bullet that was mentioned in the, like, the first, like, little snapshot, and they said that you figured out most of your self-sabotaging skills and you've learned to overcome those. And for me, that is a huge thing, because I realize that not all my skills that I have are self-sabotaging. I actually kind of have a sort of a naive outlook where I don't really know what exactly is self-sabotaging. But in my brain, basically, if something did happen where I did have a skill that was self-sabotaging, I would realize that it's more of a problem that I have to overcome rather than like it's a skill that I actually have, and that's one thing that I believe that I have to work on a little bit more and realize, okay, what sort of skill sets do I have that aren't really helping me out, or what sort of personality traits do I have that really don't complement me at all in my objective or my overall path that I want to be pursuing. But that was that was one of the biggest shocks that I had.
That's super important, because we all have those. Everybody, you know, I mean, no one's perfect.
Oh, yeah.
And it's all a learning lesson. And when you are to the spot where you can actually realize what those are and then make them and transform them to where they work for you, like, that's a huge advantage. So good for you.
Thank you. Question is, what was one lesson that you took to heart and is now one of your biggest strengths?
Well, going back, let me see. So I really, you know, I believe in the law of attraction. There's laws to this universe. It's just kind of understanding everything in a whole aspect of things. Like, I believe that there are no coincidences and that everything does happen for a purpose. And that it totally exemplified that in my report. Like, I kind of like know I've come full circle enough to be aware to know everything has its place and everything has its timing. And I could really relate to that. And that was really helpful. And I totally took it to heart and realized that it's definitely one of my strengths, because not a lot of people are able to see the bigger picture. You know, we're both in your own life, you're an insider. So to be able to get to the point where you can take a step back and look from the outside on the inside of yourself, it's definitely helpful. What about you?
Well, one of my biggest strengths, I would say, is taking some leaps when it comes to being social, and because one of my problems that I've had for a long time was I have some trouble with interacting with people, or at least I did have a problem, and that's kind of that was one of the main reasons why I started a YouTube channel, is because I saw other YouTubers and they were having a lot of fun. They were very engaging and very interesting people. And I said, hey, I could do the exact same thing. So I eventually built up enough motivation to create a video in the first place, and start this channel, even though it's only been about a year now since I've been doing this. I still remember the sort of situation that I was in at that time, and said, I'm going to make a YouTube channel. I want to go and create this channel, and just help myself be more comfortable with myself, and start meeting other people.
That takes a lot of courage too. So congratulations on that. Not a lot of people do this, what we do. And for you to come outside your comfort zone and just do it instead of wanting to do it or thinking about doing it or whatnot, that takes a lot of courage.
Mm-hmm. Has there been a particular strength or personality trait today that is used more often in your life that you're thankful for?
Yes, and that is, and the test points this out too, and that's in my healing process, my whole entire healing process for everything that I've been through in life. And then, self-love. I think in general, people tend to be their own worst critics, their own worst enemies, their own, and I kind of like went through that transformation recently this last year or so. And that's one of my strengths now. Is before I didn't heal properly, I would like not talk about things. I would stuff it inside, and which caused me to like leak out everywhere on people, and then just getting to that place of like self-forgiveness and healing and really, really understanding and comprehending it. So what about you?
Well, one thing that I'm still kind of learning right now is the ability to focus, and that's one thing that I'm definitely noticing a lot in my channel and in my life right now, which is the ability to focus. And that was one thing that I realized about like the last month of or last week of October, was when I realized, gee, I really need to focus a lot more, and it's really helped me out a lot in understanding what path I want to be going through, and also like growing a lot more in various areas, such as myself as a channel, and just in life, and how I work, and how my day goes. All through October, I spent a lot of time at my desk and just working away. But I've completely made I've made another change in my life, because I said I want to be focusing on some other things. I want to be focusing on moving around a little bit more. I want to be focusing on reading more, and also working on, of course, my channel and all that. But so far in the past couple of days, I've been at least off out of this chair that I'm sitting in for several hours over the course of a day. So it's not just my Mondays where I record everything and I'm just standing all day. It's actually throughout the entire week now, or the past couple of days now, where I've been standing up and moving around a little bit more rather than just sitting at a desk.
Right. That's awesome. You should get a stand-up desk.
Yes. I need to look into like a treadmill desk or something like that. But yeah, that might be later on down the road or something. Not right now. Not right now. My parents would probably flip. Maybe, I don't know. They say, "Why do you need this for?" I said, "For creativity purposes."
They're like, "What?"
Well, the next question pertains to what you said a little bit earlier. You said that we are our own worst critic, and that is very true. In most cases, a lot of people see weakness as a sort of a very bad thing, something that we need to just purge and get rid of, and all that stuff. So how do you view weakness? Like, what's your own definition of weakness?
Thank you for asking, because that's a really good question. And I don't like to look at weakness as weakness. I like to look at it as feedback. And through, if you learn and understand NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, using the word weakness to begin with, I mean, we have to, so that other people will know what we're talking about to relate. But you can train your brain to think of it as as feedback, a learning lesson. So if I'm like, just like how you said, you didn't want to sit at your desk all the time, like, you wanted to get up and move around and do stuff throughout the week instead of just sit at a desk all day long and work. And like, so you identified that was feedback. You weren't feeling good doing that. So that would, and then turn be a weakness of yours. And then you made it work. You turned it around and you're like, hey, you made a conscious decision. This is what I'm going to do to kind of fix it. And you did. And so I like to think of it as weaknesses as not a bad thing. I like to make friends with my weaknesses and really embrace them and make it fun, because that's what, I mean, my slogan is purposely love your life and live it up, because we're only here, I mean, at least in my opinion, in this lifetime, a very short time compared to the whole bigger scheme of things. So why not enjoy it, make friends with your weakness, and then if you make a conscious effort to do it and change it, then do it. If so, cool. If not, cool. You'll be ready eventually. What about you? How would you define weakness?
Weakness is pretty much the exact same thing as you described it. It's more of a challenge or a problem. Have fun fixing it. A weakness is just another problem. And obviously, obviously, we as humans always have a lot of problems for various reasons. And yeah, it's just fun to just solve it and fix it. Because I just love puzzles. That is one thing that I grew up with, and I still play a lot of puzzle games. I still do like Sudokus. Well, not Sudokus as often, but there's still some puzzle stuff and strategy games that I still play, and it keeps my brain active. And that's kind of just how I view weaknesses, is just problems or puzzles that need to be solved.
That's a really good way to do it, like a game, because then you're more your brain doesn't think about it so much. Like when you're thinking, that's like the worst thing that could happen sometimes, because you're thinking and thinking, and then all of a sudden you find yourself just in this huge state of stress, and you're like, wait, how did I get here? Like I like taking action and then making it into a game it's really awesome. So that's cool that you do that too.
Yeah. Okay. So our next question is, taking the next step towards progress or happiness is tough. What is one piece of advice you would give to those who are struggling with taking that next step?
Well, and I made a video about this last night on Facebook, but basically, to me, in my own experience, it's we all have a choice. Every single human has one choice that's all the same, and it's the freedom to choose, right? Like consciously choose, make a decision. So when you are able to recognize first that you want to be more self-aware, you're struggling or whatever you're going through, when you consciously make that choice and take action on it, that's the key. And what you need to do is find other like-minded people to network. I have, there's like a 3-person strategy that I use, hanging out with people who are above me. And I'm not saying this like anybody's better than anyone, but like, so for example, hanging out with like mentors and people that are doing what I want to do in the future, and surrounding myself with them. Then I hang out with people on my level who are like-minded people just like me. I'm kind of at the same spot on the same path, right at this moment. And then people that haven't really reached it yet. And that's where coaching comes into play, because then you can help lift them up with you, like, so the strategy is really, really cool. And having a support network group or something to plug into is absolutely imperative. So that's like my top thing. And just make the choice, because you're not a victim in this life. You have the choice to have a good life, or you have the choice to have a bad life. You get to choose. So it's just making the decision and doing it, taking action. What about you?
Well, first off, I really love the fact that you were talking about that spending time with people that are above you, on your level, as well as below you. That was one thing that I learned very early, that you want to be spending well, pretty much when it comes to anything in life, if you want to be making more money, if you want to be understanding yourself more, if you want to be in better shape, obviously you want to be spending time with people that are on your level, that are going through your journey, because they can motivate you as well. But you also want to be envisioning, or you want to be spending time with other people that are above you, is so to speak, so that or living the lifestyle that you want to be leading, because that will motivate you even more, as well as, of course, you can learn a lot more from them as well. And the people below you, you can obviously do that for coaching purposes. You can learn more about how to interact with those kinds of individuals, how you can help them to lift them up onto your level. That was one thing that I really loved about that. Or one thing that I say in most of my videos is you choose your own path, and it's pretty much the exact same thing that you said. Is at the end of the day, we are just catalysts. We're just we're the people that are just spitting out information or spitting out change for other people, and it's their choice if they want to listen or if they want to just leave it as is, or take it in and not take any action whatsoever. It's what's important is that they take it in, but also take action if they want to be making some changes in their life, and that's entirely their choice if you want to be doing that. So that's really the only piece of advice that I have is take it in, but also find a way to be moving forward. How can you take that information and use it for something?
And make it work for you, because we're all different and unique in our own beautiful way. So when you find what works for you, because what works for me may not work for you or the other person or whatever, but you can take bits and pieces of whatever works that you relate to and then apply it to yourself.
Yes, exactly. So our last question is, what are some of the best sources of becoming more self-aware? Because obviously, since we were talking about taking the next step and obviously finding some other material, finding some other sources of self-awareness to become more self-aware. So what are some of the things that you would suggest people get into first?
That's a good question. And to me, it really all depends on where you're at. So I've always worked with mentors, coaches. Like right now I'm working with Brian King, who I just started working with last month. He's amazing because, when you go through the self-awareness process and you hit kind of like a plateau sometimes where you're like, I want to do more and be more. Okay, I've done this, this, and this. I'm happy with my results. What's next? And working with coaches, mentors, or counselors or whatever, for me personally, has helped me a lot. And then obviously taking this test, which the links will be at the bottom, like you said, is huge too. And then I personally use numerology. So I've been studying for 18 years, and that's been a huge part of my self-awareness journey. Because it's like your life blueprint. It's not like a horoscope where it's saying, oh, this and this and this is going to happen. It's saying like, no, here are your innate qualities and character traits. And here is like how to work with your strengths and weaknesses and everything. So I can include my link as well to that, to the best site, since I've studied so many sites, and the best one that I've found is a numerology site, and it's like #1 on Google. So if you type in like numerology or whatever, it comes up, and then I can include the link below for you. But
all right, perfect.
Absolutely. And then also meditation, self-reflecting, having quiet time. Quiet time is so important. Journaling, getting out your thoughts. And sometimes when you're journaling, you don't even know what's going to happen. And it's really cool and magical sometimes, because you're like, whoa, did I just write that?
You froze up. You froze up for a second there.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back now. You're talking about numerology and yeah.
Okay. So, and numerology, which, like I said, I was studying it for 18 years, and I do all the time, but I'll include the best site that I've found so far. But and then journaling, meditation, quiet time, just self-reflection time, because if you don't have that, you're not going to be able to see where your results are. You need to be able to see where you're going, and if you can't measure that, then you're not going to get there. So
okay.
What about you?
So when I was first introduced to self-awareness, I was introduced in the form of tests. So I feel like tests are really good with understanding more of a direction and understanding more about yourself. But also, what's really important as well is comparing the answers with other people. So sharing that sharing that sort of information with other people can help you out with understanding yourself and how you can connect with other people. So there's a lot of benefits behind tests, but if you're already past that, if you understand more about yourself and you want to be looking for more stuff on top of that, basically there's mentors, finding a mentor. There is programs that are out there for self-awareness and understanding yourself. There's just not crash courses, but there are just courses and learning material that you can take. There's blogs, there's and as well as, of course, just like informative programs on top of that. So there's that side, and then there's obviously meditation and self-reflecting, and that's that I feel is one thing that I'm tapping into myself recently, is just reflecting, self-reflecting and meditating. That's where I'm at right now, is just doing that for about 5 minutes every day.
And I just want to point out one thing about meditation, because I find a lot of people get it kind of, they get confused. But there's no wrong way to meditate. Like, some people, I mean, whatever works for you is just what's important. That's what you have to find. But when you meditate, there's something that happens. I don't know if it's like divine intervention or whatnot, but your higher self, you're able to understand, you're able to clearly see messages, you're able to really get your conviction across. And it's so cool because you don't even know sometimes where it comes from. It's just like synchronicity, and you're like, whoa. And it just, meditation is a huge, huge thing that I would highly, highly recommend. But you have to find what works for you. So whatever that is, you know.
Oh, yes. Yes, for sure. Well, anyway, that is all the questions that I have for this interview. And of course, I want to thank Tiffany Tee for being on my my channel and letting me interview her, as well as her interviewing me on top of that. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the interactions that we've had, and I hope that you guys, of course, enjoyed this. And before you guys go, make sure that you leave a like on this video. And also don't forget to subscribe to my channel, as well as Tiffany Tee's as well, because she's just awesome. She's amazing. I have all of her social media links down in the description below, and they'll also be popping up around here as well. I'll do some editing magic to make sure that they all pop up, and you guys can go and check her out, and and go and subscribe to her channel as well.
So much.
Anyway,
it's always so much fun with you. I really appreciate you.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Anyway, I will see you guys next time.